pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank. The creditors calling me up saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. What's the deal? And me getting embarrassed by that. 25 years old. I live in America. I got a nice little family, every reason to do well, and I messed up. That was me, my friend, not somebody in a book. Me, big mouth me, with all the fancy promises I made to get married, and I'm way behind on those promises. I'd purchased a little more than I could conveniently pay for on time, and the creditors are starting to call, and I'm embarrassed. So if you're sitting there tonight a little behind, a little stuck, the bill's bigger than the bank account, somebody calling you who you don't want to talk to, I'm not going to look down on you. I started right where you are. I started lower than you are. And I'm going to give you the same 5 pieces a wealthy man gave me that took me from pennies in my pocket to a millionaire by the time I was 31. Same government, same economy, same prices, same negative relatives. I was not the same. Now let me tell you how that happened, because it's not a mystery and it's not luck. I grew up in Idaho, farm country, southwest corner of Idaho. Went to high school, graduated, went to college 1 year, and halfway through my 2nd year, I decided I was smart enough, so I quit. One of my major mistakes, I should have stayed in school. But I thought, you know, I'm smart enough to get a job. That's what life's all about, right? Get a job, pay your bills, work hard, stay out of trouble, keep your fingers crossed, hope for the best. And then the miracle happened for me. Good fortune came my way, and who can explain good fortune? I don't know. At age 25, I met a very wealthy man. His name was Mr. Shoaff. Mr. Earl Shoaff. A friend of mine had gone to work for him, and he kept telling me, you've got to meet this man. He's wealthy, but he's easy to talk to. And he's got a unique philosophy of life. So I met him. And I was impressed. He was wealthy. Sure enough, he was easy to talk to. And within a few minutes, I said to myself, farm boy from Idaho, if I could be like him, I'd give anything. A few months later, this wealthy man took a liking to me, hired me, gave me a job. And I spent the next 5 years working for him. Then he died at the end of that period, at age 49. His last 5 years. But the first 5 years of my new life. And in that time, he coached me. He taught me. He taught me the books to read. He taught me the disciplines. He taught me the changes to make in my language and personality. Now, here's the first thing he did. You write this down, because this is piece number 1. He said, well, Mr. Rohn, let's just go through a little summary here. In the last 6 years, how much money have you saved and invested? I said, what? 0. He said, you have messed up. He said, how many books have you read in the last 90 days? I said, what? 0. He said, in the last 6 months, how many classes have you taken to improve your skills? I said, how many? 0. He said, you have messed up. Now, don't miss this. He didn't yell at me. He didn't shame me and walk off. He fired the hard line, you have messed up, and then he stayed. And he showed me the way up. And that's what I'm going to do for you tonight. So when a line stings, don't flinch. The hand is right behind it. Here's the first secret he gave me. He said, here's the secret, Mr. Rohn. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And once I got that, it turned my life around. He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Now, if you'd have known me at 25, you'd have said, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. I'm the guy. I don't mind coming a little early, staying a little late. I don't mind that. You'd have said, well, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. So how come he's got pennies in his pocket and nothing in the bank and behind on his promises? Well, I was a hard worker, all right. But I was working hard on my job, not on myself. That's step 1. Income seldom exceeds personal development. To have more, you simply have to become more. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Write it down. Now, I used to think it was circumstances that ordered my life. If somebody had asked me at 25, Mr. Rohn, how come you're not doing well? It would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. I found it much easier to blame the government, much easier to blame the tax problem. I used to blame the traffic, the weather, the company. I used to say, if this is all they pay, how do they expect you to do well? But here's what I learned, and this is step 2. Each person's personal philosophy is like the set of the sail. The winds of chance and circumstance blow for us all. The same wind blows on us all. The difference in where you arrive is not the wind, it's the set of the sail. And the set of the sail is your own personal philosophy. That's what makes us different than dogs and animals and birds and cats and alligators. The ability to think, in the winter, I'm telling you, the goose can only fly south. What if south doesn't look too good? Tough luck. It can only fly south. But you are not a goose. You can turn around, go north, go east, go west. You can order the entire process of your own life. So you don't need a better economy. You need a better philosophy. You don't need to change countries. You need to change your philosophy. And here's how the philosophy gets built. It gets built by what you feed your mind. Mr. Schoaf said, how many books have you read in the last 90 days? And I said, 0. Wisdom of the world, available. Change your life, change your future. And I hadn't read a book in 90 days. Here's what it says in ancient script. As a man thinketh, so is he. And here's the corollary. The book you don't read won't help. Now somebody says, well, Mr. Rohn, I can't afford a big house with a library in it. Doesn't matter what size home. Take your present apartment, clean out a closet, call it your library, and start acting intelligent. That's piece 2. Set the sail by what you put in your mind. Here's step 3, and it's the work. Now, Mr. Schoaf explained it to me this way. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. And the marketplace is also described as reality. Now, it takes time to bring value to the marketplace. But we don't get paid for time. We get paid for the value you put in the time. The man says, well, I'm making about $20 an hour. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home and have them send your money. No. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you put in the time. So here's one of the key questions of the evening. Is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time? Of course. Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you now are and make 3 times as much money in the same time? Of course. America's a ladder to climb. Starts down here, about $4 an hour, and the more valuable you become, you just keep moving up the ladder. Now somebody says the bottom should be 5, should be 5. Well, maybe. If you're going to stay at the bottom the rest of your life, it probably should be 5, but that's kind of a pitiful way to live. Start and not grow. Start and not change. Start and not become more valuable. The whole scenario of life is to start number 1 and become more valuable number 2. And here's the great news inside step 3. Wages will make you a living. Profits will make you a fortune. And you can work on profits part-time while you earn wages full-time. Part-time fortune. All you need is the philosophy to start. Profits are better than wages. Jot that down. Now I'm going to give you step 4. And this one separates the people who change tonight from the people who go home and do nothing. Step 4 is the 4 emotions that can help change anything. Write these down. You'll want all 4. Number 1 is disgust. Now here's what I want you to understand. Change doesn't start with inspiration. Change doesn't start with somebody getting excited. Change starts with disgust. Getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And not disgust at somebody else. Disgust with your own current condition. Disgust with your own lack of results. Saying one day, I've had it. I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to feel like this anymore. That was my moment, my friend. One day I said, I've had it. Number 2 is decision. Now, decision is a tricky one because most of our decisions are really wishes. You could and you should and you don't. And here's a stronger word, you won't. Don't might mean you're careless. Won't probably means you're stubborn. And either one is called disaster. If you should fish and you could fish and you don't fish, you got no miracle. Could, should, don't is called disaster. In 6 years, you'll be explaining instead of celebrating, having some ragged list like I had, reasons for not doing well, pennies in your pocket. But if you'll just start the process, could, should, and will, you can start this whole thing. The decision is, I will. Number 3 is desire. And desire is a strange thing. Sometimes you can't manufacture it on demand. But here's what I've found. When you get around the right ideas, when you get around the right people, when you start reading the right books, the desire wakes up. It comes from the inside out. So you put yourself in the way of it. And number 4 is resolve. Resolve says, I will. Resolve is the promise you make to yourself that the most you will ever give up is up. Resolve is the 4-part ant philosophy. And let me give you that, because the ant teaches resolve better than I can. I think everybody should study ants. They've got an amazing 4-part philosophy. Here's the first part. Ants never quit. If they're headed somewhere and you try to stop them, they look for another way. They'll climb over, they'll climb under, they'll climb around, they keep looking for another way. What a neat philosophy. To never quit looking for a way to get where you're supposed to go. Second, ants think winter all summer. You've got to think ahead. You can't be so naive as to think summer will last forever. Ants are gathering in their winter food in the middle of summer. Third, ants think summer all winter. During the winter, the ants are saying, this won't last long, we'll be out of here soon. And the first warm day, the ants are out. If it turns cold again, they go back in. But the first warm day, they're back out. And the last part, how much will an ant gather during the summer to prepare for the winter? All he possibly can. What an incredible philosophy. The all you possibly can philosophy. So there it is. Disgust, decision, desire, resolve. Those 4 emotions, plus the never quit, think ahead, all you can spirit of the ant. That's the engine that drives the change. Now I've given you 4 pieces. Work harder on yourself. Set the sail with your philosophy. Bring value to the marketplace. And let the 4 emotions move you. Here's piece 5, and it's the one most people skip. Lifestyle. Lifestyle is simply learning how to live well. And Mr. Shove taught me this with the shoe shine. He said, Mr. Rohn, if you're getting your shoes shined and the shoe shine boy's done an exceptional job, you look down, you got one of the world's all-time great shines and you pay him. Now, you got a little change in your hand and a question pops in your mind. Should I give him 1 quarter or 2 quarters as a tip? Here's what Shoaf said. If 2 amounts pop in your mind, always go for the higher amount and become the higher thinking person. He said, if you go for the 1 quarter, that'll affect you the rest of the day. The rest of the day, you'll look down, see this great shine, and say, I got to be really cheap, 1 lousy quarter for a tip. But if you'll go for the 2 quarters, he said, you can't believe the extra happiness you can buy for just an extra quarter. That helped change my life. Because lifestyle isn't about the money. It's about the kind of person you decide to be while you handle the money. And let me give you the picture that makes it real. A man walked up after one of my seminars. He said, Mr. Rohn, you've really gotten to me. I'm going to change my philosophy, change my attitude, change my life. You'll hear about me. A few months later, I come back. He says, one of the things I decided to change was my relationship with my family. My wife and I have 2 lovely teenage daughters, and I'm the only one that's given them trouble. They love to go to the rock concerts, and I'm always giving them trouble. They have to beg me for the money. I say, I don't want you to go. Music's too loud. You're going to ruin your hearing. But after your seminar, he said, I decided to change. I picked up the newspaper, and I saw an advertisement. One of their favorite performers was coming to town. Guess what I did? I went down and bought the tickets myself, brought them home, put them in an envelope. And when I saw my daughters later that day, I handed them this envelope, and I said, you may not believe it, but inside this envelope are 2 tickets for the upcoming concert. And he added, begging days are over. They go to the concert. Come concert time, they hand the tickets to the usher. He says, follow me, and starts down front. The girls say, hold it, something must be wrong. He takes another look. No, nothing's wrong. Follow me. 10th row center. The only tickets they'd ever been able to beg for was way up in the 3rd balcony. Can't see. He said, I stayed up a little late that night. A little after midnight, my 2 daughters come bursting through the front door. One lands in my lap. The other's got her arms around my neck. And they're both saying, you got to be one of the all-time world's great fathers. He said, Mr. Rohn, you're right. Same money, different father. Now think about it. Same money, different father. He didn't make more that month. He didn't win the lottery. He became more. And when he became more, everything changed around him. To have more, you simply have to become more. So there's your 5 pieces. Philosophy, attitude, activity, results, and lifestyle. Write those down. Philosophy is the set of the sail. Attitude is how you feel about your past. Use it as a school, not a club, and how you feel about your future. Activity is the work. Do what you can, and do the best you can. Results, every once in a while, you've got to take a measure, because results is the name of the game, and success is a numbers game. And lifestyle is learning to live well, starting tonight, with the 2-quarter decision. Now here comes the hard truth turn, and I'm going to give it to you straight, the way Mr. Shoaf gave it to me, because I care about you too much to soften it into nothing. Here's the formula for failure. A few errors in judgment repeated every day, and here's the formula for success. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. Let me show you what I mean. Not long ago, midnight, we're getting ready to go to bed. My father's eating what he calls his midnight snack, a little bite before bed. And I'm watching him. Guess what he had? An apple, a few graham crackers, and a glass of grapefruit juice. And I said, no wonder my father's so healthy. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now, good question for this intelligent audience. What if that's true? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, if that's true, that'd be easy to do. Then what's the problem? It's easy not to do. It's easy not to adopt it as your own personal philosophy. The guy messed up says, a Hershey bar a day. No. You've been watching too much television. It is not a Hershey bar. You've got to be smarter in philosophy than to fall for the Hershey bar a day when it's an apple a day. Here's the trap. Just because disaster doesn't fall on us at the end of the first day doesn't mean disaster isn't coming. The neglect doesn't show up tonight. It shows up in 6 years. You've got to be so smart you look down the road and say, the error is in my present judgment. What's that going to cost me in 1 year, 6 years, 1 month, 6 months? So here's the line that stings, and then I'll hand you the way up. We must all suffer one of 2 things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the difference between the 2, the discipline weighs ounces, the regret weighs tons. You have been neglecting, most of us have, I sure did, 6 years of zero saved, zero invested, zero books, zero classes. That's the club. But don't you dare beat yourself to death with it. Use the past as a school, not a club. The same 6 years that buried me, I turned into the 6 years that made me a millionaire. Same man, different disciplines. Because here's the truth that ought to set you free tonight. Same wind, same opportunity, same economy, same marketplace, same books available, same schools, same seminar. How come one person hears it, picks up the disciplines, and transforms his life, and the person sitting right next to him hears the same words, shrugs, goes home, and does nothing? I used to lie awake trying to figure that out. I've got peace of mind now. Some do and some don't, and tonight, my friend, you get to choose which one you are. You've been given the dignity of choice. Now, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. And don't go reaching for something staggering, because you don't have to. You can start a whole new process. And you say, well, Mr. Rohn, is it that simple? Yes, it's that simple. Where else would you start? With an apple. You don't have to start with something staggering. So here's what you can decide before bed tonight. Don't try to fix the whole 6 years. Just pick one discipline. One, clean out a closet, call it your library, and read 10 pages before you sleep. Or open a page and start a journal, mister. Shoaff told me, don't trust your memory. If you come across something valuable, write it down. Or take the 2-quarter decision the next time it comes to you tomorrow and become the higher thinking person. One simple discipline, practiced every day, that's all the apple is. And here's my promise to you, and I mean it. For things to change, you have to change. If you will change, everything will change for you. Not the government, not the economy, not your relatives, you. When I changed, everything changed for me within a 6-year period, and I was never the same. You don't have to walk out of here tonight the same as you walked in, only by choice. The creditors were calling me too. The promises were broken, mine too. Pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank me, the farm boy from Idaho. And a wealthy man looked at all of it and didn't see a failure. He saw a man who simply hadn't started yet. That's how I see you tonight. Not behind, not broke, not stuck, just not started yet. And the starting is the simplest thing in the world. It's an apple. It's a quarter. It's 10 pages. It's one word, will. Pick it up before you sleep, and I'll see you back here in the morning.